well, shit. No one's interested in Fit Body Bootcamp. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I did all the heavy lifting. I've done all the work for you. I've built the brand. I can tell you that the way I felt when my dad offered me the business, I don't ever want to make my kids feel that way. Like,
we all exit our company eventually. The question is, will it be on your terms or someone else's? Strategy matters. Timing matters. The right partner changes everything. Brought to you by Meritage Partners. Here is your host, Brian Franco, author of The Inevitable Exit. This is the M&A Guy Podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of the M&A Guy Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Franco, founder and CEO of Meritage Partners and author of Inevitable Exit. Today's guest is a very special guest to me, a good friend of mine, and I highly value his opinion, his experiences. I've titled this episode, Build a Brand, Exit the Business, Legacy Lessons with Bedros Keuilian. Thanks for being here with me, man.
yeah, man, of course. First off, congratulations on the new book.
Thank you.
Yeah, and secondly, thank you for the opportunity, Brian.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate you. I respect you and the work that you've done.
Thank you.
You know, I've seen the way you move entrepreneurs and people even that are stuck in that 9 to 5 job where they want to step into that entrepreneurship. And so when we go into this, you know, there's business plans, there's projections, and there's all this excitement around what we're building.
Yeah.
And that excitement's really, it's freedom, right? That's what we're seeking.
Yeah.
And in that freedom of time and the ability to use the income we generate we produce that income to live a particular lifestyle we desire.
Exactly.
And, you know, from time to time, I mean, we see, you know, all sorts of stories with entrepreneurs and companies that are growing and scaling and exiting. But, you know, exiting doesn't just mean or just not reserved for those that are retiring. I mean, we have clients in their 30s that have built a company to, you know, 20, 30 million. They exit all or part of it, and they continue to grow and ride that wave and scale the business. It's pretty powerful. So, you know, we always liken that to you know, you have this income approach. We're all chasing the income, but what's the outcome, right?
Yeah. Because
entrepreneurs have built an asset along the way.
Yeah.
And they don't even realize this asset's sitting there. Investors want it because it has predictable revenue streams, a reputable brand or product or service. And just like with what you did, you know, you built Fit Body Bootcamp, I mean, from the ground up.
Yeah.
And I think I remember the story was local here.
Yeah, right here in Chino Hills.
Yeah. And
exactly.
And actually, I was talking to my wife. I think Melody went to that boot camp years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
And
that's
she
great.
loved it. Not long after, though, like within weeks, she was pregnant with our first son, Braden, who's now 15.
Yeah. See, the timeline matches. Yeah.
See?
Yeah, the
It
timeline
does, right?
matches. Yep.
Yeah. So, but that's how I remembered. I just thought of that right now, actually.
Yeah.
And because we were chatting about
That's
that.
fascinating, man. When I'll travel Canada or the U.S. Those are the two countries that we're in right now, and I'll meet people. Like if I wear especially a Fit Body Bootcamp hat, I'm like, oh my God, my wife works out there, or I work out there, or we work out there, and are you a trainer? I'm like, no, I'm the guy that started the company. Like, holy shit, right? And I want to say holy crap because like I can travel anywhere and find people that train and work out and have transformed their lives in a Fit Body Bootcamp. So I'm more impressed about meeting clients than they're impressed about meeting the founder, to be honest with you.
But it's because, I mean, you have a personal brand, but, you know, Fit Body being the brand itself, right? You have designed a system and tools, and you know, you've taken this nationwide, and you've done a beautiful job with it, which leads me to one of my first questions. You know, we all set out to build that company, you know, a recognizable brand, a respected brand, as you have built. But, you know, there's a difference, right? Just not building a scalable company. But you built empires from the ground up.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of money in the marketplace with investors. And, you know, they went to school to raise capital and deploy capital. They not that they're not capable, but they never took the route of starting something from scratch.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's a very different mindset. And, you know, from a startup to scale up to even, you know, beyond. Because some of these clients, I mean, they'll take a company from, you know, like I said, in the tens to $20, $30 million. Investor comes in, and they grow them to $100, $200 million revenue a year.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these success stories have been even targeting $1 billion of revenue.
Right.
and so they have a different role in that journey. But from your experience, what's really the difference between a scalable business and those that are going to be able to really attract others?
Well, I think the biggest thing about a scalable business is that it's something that solves a big problem for lots of people, right?
Yeah.
And if you could figure out a product or a solution or a service that solves a big problem for lots of people and then offer it for a reasonable price, that becomes the ultimate scalable business.
Yeah.
Because the alternative is a personality-based business. Personality-based business might be a coaching service, consulting service, right? It's cool, makes good money, high profit margins because you don't have a lot of overhead.
Correct.
However, you're not about to get funded by an M&A firm or private equity.
Yeah.
Whereas something like Fit Body Boot Camp, or now my other company, Trulean Supplements,
Yes.
like it's a supplement where we have almost 10,000 subscribers on board. The average customer stays on board for 9.7 months.
Wow.
And so when you look at that, what does it solve? Well, it helps people fight off inflammation in their body and their joints, builds their immune system, and gives them natural energy instead of coffee in the morning. So you tear a packet, you pour it in 4 ounces of water, and you drink it first thing in the morning. You got your multivitamins, your herbs, spices, all the great things, right? And so I share that with you because you go into someone's drawer in the morning, or pantry, you're going to see a lot of supplements. And we were like, okay, what if we replace everything that you take with this one thing, but then beef it up to do things that you need that you don't even realize that you need?
That's right.
So once we did that, and then we realized, well, it's a consumable. Instead of ordering it every month from us, let's put you on a subscription program.
Correct.
And that increases valuation.
100%.
It's a problem that lots of people have. They don't want to take a lot of different supplements throughout the day. It gets expensive. Did I take my vitamin C? Did I take my vitamin D? Did I take my echinacea? How about you just tear one packet? So if you can solve a problem for lots of people and offer it for a reasonable amount, and then the supercharger, you put it on subscription.
Yeah.
And all my businesses that I've scaled, Fit Body Boot Camp has subscription, royalties. Even the gyms themselves have a membership fee. And then you look at Trulean Supplements. We put customers on a subscription. They save 20% every month and get free shipping if it's put on subscription. Otherwise, you're paying full price and the cost of shipping. So anyone kind of thinking in the way of scale, I always say big problem, lots of people, reasonable price, put it on subscription, and you've got something that can be very easily scaled and sold in the future.
Yeah, and it's the same reason why software companies are so valuable. There's a price per seat per month, every month, whether you use that software or not. Right?
Exactly.
And we just went through this exercise internally where we're going through our tech stack and we're like, oh, we're still paying for that? We haven't used that in 3 months.
Think how many companies do that. We do that on a regular basis. And you realize, I'm spending $500, $600, $800 a month on software that's no longer being used.
Correct. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But what investors love about that, though, is the reoccurring, predictable revenue stream that produces. So the memberships and the subscriptions that you put together, and you think about it, you've found that common theme and common denominator in both Fit Body Boot Camp and Trulean.
Yeah.
Right? You pay a membership to go to the gym every month, and same thing for Trulean, right?
Yep.
And so that's something that investors can say, okay, look, Bedros, you built a machine. That machine, you stick $1 in the side, $8 to $12 comes out the other end. And that's predictable. And so that's valuable because whereas let's say you're in construction, and I'm not hating on construction because there's some very profitable construction companies, but construction companies are project-based. You're as good as your last project. So you have to get really good about getting other projects lined up in the pipeline so you're doing them over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And you actually introduced me to a fractional CFO we've been using quite a bit and plugging them in with some clients to get them ready because he comes from that construction background.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. There was a lot of unpredictability in that space.
Yeah.
And again, it's that unpredictability comes as a byproduct of economic downturn, right? It could be competition. Yeah. It could be the cost of goods go up, lumber, et cetera. Correct. When the cost of goods go up, inflation. Yes. And so, again, it solves a big problem. But if someone's like, I need a remodel in my kitchen and my bathroom and my closets, but inflation, but economy. All right, I can live in this situation for another 3 years.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
And so when we're thinking about solving a problem, my answer is like, can you make it economy proof? Like there's a lot of things like that can be made economy proof. Fitness is one of them. Now, could one-on-one personal training be economy proof? No, I was a byproduct of that. In 2008, the housing market crashed. we were running one-on-one personal training gyms, charging clients $600 to $1,200 a month for one-on-one training services. Well, as soon as the housing market crashes, people don't have any money. They're not going to pay me $600 to $1,200 a month, but they will pay $99 a month or $120 a month for all you can eat boot camp workouts, right?
Yeah, like that.
Yeah. And so when you look at it that way, it's like, oh, okay, can I make it economy proof? There's always like more levers you can pull to almost like bulletproof your business. And one of them is, can I make it economy proof? Can I reduce my cost of labor? You look at, I've got a couple of coaching clients who are in construction.
Yep.
One of them, he does all of the concrete for some of the biggest houses in Hollywood Hills, Beverly Hills, Brentwood, etc. All the concrete work. However, he's like, dude, when the cost of goods go up, when the economy shifts a little bit, when the film or entertainment industry shifts, I have to get rid of my labor force. Yeah. And then when things go back, I got to go back and fire or rehire this labor force, right?
If they're still around.
Yeah, if they're still around. And so I'm like, that is not a predictable business. Like you have feast and famines.
Correct.
I don't want that. That's a scary way to live.
It is. In home services, it has been explosive over the last 15 years. You have, plumbers to HVAC to roofers, windows, doors, siding, all of that. And what we saw a lot of these construction companies doing is they blended their business between new construction and then retrofit. But the retrofit work was in and around insurance paid claims, water damage, fire damage, hail damage, some sort of storm damage, right?
That's smart.
And what's good about that is like you could put on a roof and you don't have to think about it for the next 30, 40 years here in California.
Yeah.
But if you live in what they call the hail belt of like St. Louis, Texas, those regions, those roofs will never see their lifespan.
Yeah.
They're going to get hail damage. They're going to get blown off by high winds. And so they balance their business out between that project work, but then also that retrofit work.
Right,
And,
for insurance, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because your payer goes from the consumer and pivot to the insurance company.
Right. This who's got deeper pockets.
Who's got deeper pockets. And yeah, I mean, good and bad, right? But,
right. Right. Because then it's like squeezing blood out of a turnip when you're dealing with an insurance company, right?
Yeah, whether it's healthcare, whether it's
Yeah.
auto insurance. I mean,
Yeah.
The list goes on, but they, they really fight and push back on what they're going to cover, what they're not going to cover.
Yeah.
But that's why even these contractors are getting sophisticated on how do claims work? How do you process a claim?
Yeah.
And how do you get that claim to be not only paid, but approved in whole? Because sometimes they could run a claim and only get paid 60 to 70% of what they did.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. Right?
I know a gentleman who his entire career is based on, if you've got a claim, before you go and ask the insurance company for it, let me go ask them for you, and I can get more money, and he keeps a piece of that. Like, what a brilliant business model. Like,
brilliant.
He just figured out how to work with insurance companies, whether it's, water damage, earthquake damage, fire damage, whatever
it is.
And he's like, you're going to get 40 grand. I'm going to get you 140 grand, and I'm going to keep a piece of that.
Yep.
And like, what a clever way to do business.
Smart.
But it's unfortunate that his job even exists, because we pay into insurance.
We do.
And then we end up having to fight them during our most dire times. Like, you think about the fires out there in the Palisades.
Yeah, gosh.
Like, all those people who were like,
They're
thought I
out.
had insurance. And I thought the insurance was there to protect me for all these years I've been paying in, and now it's not taking care of me. But anyway, that's an argument for another day.
Yeah.
But what I also know is this. Imagine this. Like, you think about, okay, we're not necessarily crapping on construction, because I think construction is a great business.
It's an amazing business.
Yeah, and there's certainly high profit margins there if they do their jobs right. But every business has its ups and downs. Every business has its, in franchising, well, you think about all the different franchises that I have to compete with as Fit Body Boot Camp. I'm competing with F45, Orange Theory, 9 Rounds, Barry's Boot Camp. And so it might be easier to find competition in some space. Yes, we've got recurring revenue. Yes, we can sell a franchise faster than a contractor can probably get a new job. However, I've got greater competition. So at some point, I think the entrepreneur has to go, all right, I'm not just an entrepreneur, I'm an athlete, and my sport is business. And so I have to be mentally, physically go into this game like with the will to dominate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And that leads me to my next topic, is really the founder's identity, because, some of these clients are, like I said, they're in their 30s, 40s, but we also have some where, unfortunately, they're older. We sold a business a couple years ago in material supply space, and the client doesn't know we sold his company, doesn't even know he owns a company because he lives in an Alzheimer's facility.
Oh, geez.
So we were hired by the law firm to come in. We got the transaction complete, but, it's sad to see. That could be me. That could be any of us, right? We don't know. And that's what really inspired me to write The Inevitable Exit, or part of the reason. I think the more personal reason is my father had a business when I grew up, and very successful, had national contracts with FedEx, then Federal Express, right? Mm-hmm. Waste management, BFI Waste. But he had a couple back surgeries, fusions, and they were botched. And today, my father, he's likely in bed right now. He's constant pain, and we saw his business deteriorate with his health.
Jeez.
To the point where, when I was 17, not even 18, I jumped in, helped with the family business, and it was hard to watch. My brother stepped in, my younger brother stepped in for a time, but once we both pursued our career paths, that business eventually closed.
Right.
And it was tough to see, man.
Yeah. As I was kind of thinking about the title of your book, The Inevitable Exit, it's a beautiful title, and the reason is, I think about, you teed up your father. I think about my father. We came from Soviet Union. Within 5 years of being here in the United States, my dad opened up a tiny little tailor shop, an alteration, men's and women's clothing alteration in Anaheim, California. And I was 6 years old when we came here, so after school he'd teach me how to sew and
That's cool.
learn his craft. By the time I was 16, 17 years old, he's like, "Son, I've got good news for you." I go, "What, Dad?" He goes, "You're going to inherit this business. It's going to be yours." And a feeling of dread came into my stomach because I knew I didn't want to be a tailor. I love the fact that I can sew my own clothes. I can sew my own button on, right? I can hem my own pants.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't necessarily want to sit behind a sewing machine,
Correct.
12 hours a day like he did.
Yeah.
And so when I told him, "Dad, I don't want to be a tailor. I actually have a different path I want to go down, and that's the path of fitness and owning gyms one day." I remember him feeling so disheartened, and the reason was I don't think he ever put any thought into an exit. He never put any thought into what if my son doesn't want it.
Correct.
He never put any thought into, can I bring a partner on and my partner can buy me out and take majority and I'll have minority and I can maybe generate cash flow. No thought was put into that. And I would say, I don't know what the stats are, you probably would know it, but 80 to 90% of business owners who start a business, and God bless them if they actually can become profitable, they don't put any thought into, is this going to be an exit? Is it going to be a legacy business where family is going to take over? Am I going to become a minority holder if someone, as I age out?
Correct.
And if they don't put any thought into it, one day you're caught in a position of either in a, assisted living home, or God forbid some disaster happens, or your child says, "No, I don't want that," and you didn't have another plan in place, right? Yeah, that's scary.
It is scary because most, they call it the silver tsunami. So my parents, your parents are considered baby boomers, right?
Yeah.
And so they all thought, I'm going to give the business to my kids. My dad thought the same, and that was his exit plan. But we find probably 9.5 times out of 10, little Sally, Susie, Billy, they want nothing to do with mom and dad's business.
Yeah.
They saw the 12-hour days, the blood, the sweat, the tears, all of the things that they missed in their childhood. And they don't want that. And you look at the younger generation, what do they want? Well, they want consistent salary, benefits, and PTO.
Yeah.
Right? That's really what they want.
Yeah.
And even Disney struggled with this. Disney's when they were going through interviews, and back in the day, it's you're working for Disney. You'll do anything to get that job. But now kids younger generation are saying, well, what's in it for me, Disney?
Right.
What are you going to offer me? And so this whole, and the next generation will be different. Right, so it'll always evolve. I don't think anyone has it right. It's just an evolution of humanity.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And as more opportunities come up, it's funny. I was at my dentist getting my teeth cleaned, right?
Yeah.
And
it's the worst, by the way.
Yeah. And you think about this dovetails to exactly what you said, Brian. He goes, "Hey, Bedros, let me know how my hygienist does." All right, Dr. Hahn, I will. I didn't think much of it, and I realized, each time I go lately, there's a new hygienist, and they're all kind of young, and wasn't quite how it used to be back in the day, like maybe a decade ago.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking to myself, I know why. Like, these same people could either go become a dental hygienist, spend all this time and money to go to hygienist school and become a dental hygienist, or they could just start at TikTok and at Instagram and then start posting content that's educational, fitness, recipes, whatever they're into, fashion, and then start making money that way.
Correct.
From home on their own time. Going back to what you said, it's like, well, what's in it for me? The days of like, was a good, respectable career, those days are over, because waking up and having my studio at my house is a good, respectable career. Whether they're doing a food review, they're doing a product review, and then all of a sudden they get sponsors and et cetera. And they're making 3-4 times the money they could make as a dental hygienist. And so as technology and consumer behavior changes, like, it's funny, the generation before is always like, I remember thinking, like, maybe one day Andrew and Chloe will run Fit Body Boot Camp.
Yeah.
And then as the kids got older, I was like, hey, what do you guys think? Andrew's like, well, I'm going to pursue music, and if you want to follow me and across the country as I'm performing on stages, Dad, and like root me on, I'm all for it. I'm like, son, done. I go, Chloe, what's your plan? She goes, well, I'm going into entertainment as well. I go, well, shit. No one's interested in Fit Body Boot Camp. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I did all the heavy lifting. I've done all the work for you. I've built the brand, the foundation, the teams there, the systems, the reality is that now they have different passions based on the technology and the things that are available to them. And if we don't allow them to spread their wings and fly, they're going to resent us. And then we're going to, I can tell you that the way I felt when my dad offered me the business, I don't ever want to make my kids feel that way. Like, I'm letting them down, I
know what you mean. Yeah, it was heavy for me because my heart was to help, and I learned a lot, at a young age. Yeah. But it was like, it was like a knot in the chest. Like, okay, I want to do this, I want to help, but it's like also at the same time, it's like, but I want to pursue my passion, in my career, and so it's like it pulls you in different directions, and it's hard. Yeah, it's hard, man. Yeah. But you get through it. It all worked out for the best situation possible for my brother, for me, and so on and so forth. My father did well enough where it carried him and will carry him into retirement. But yeah, it is scary. Yeah. But and you look at AI and what's happening with AI. There's a real good chance that we're going to have a second coming of really a second renaissance of where we're going to go back to the music and arts, and we're going to be pursuing passions such as that.
It's funny you say that. Did you happen to hear any of the new stats that they say as much as 40 to 45% of the people engaging with you online are bots now?
Really?
Yeah.
Really? On behalf of humans, or is it just on behalf of the platforms? Like,
well, I guess on behalf of humans, because humans will set up all these different iPhones, and then the video showed literally iPhones across these walls that were all tethered to one computer, and then one guy is running one computer that's now influencing all these bots. And they said with the progression of AI and how quickly they can just make another Brian on social media, another Bedros on social media. Once we realize it, I don't know if that's AI or not. We're all going to go back to analog in terms of, well, like you said, go back to the old, listen, I think I'm going to go to a coffee shop and hear someone play the guitar because I can trust my eyes, but I don't know what I'm seeing on the screen. And the article ended up, or the video kind of piece ended up asking, like, will there come a time in the next 5 years or so, they didn't even say 10 years, in the next 5 years or so, that it will just be us as spectators looking at bots and AI interacting on social media and on the internet. Yeah. In other words, the internet will be technically dead of actual human interaction, and we'll just be the observer. And that's a pretty freaky thing.
It is freaky. Yeah. I mean, I constantly think, like, we'll laugh one day that I'm carrying this device.
Right.
Like, we won't carry devices in the future. I just don't see it.
Yeah. And well, Elon's already talking about the Neuralink.
Yeah, the Neuralink.
Right?
Would you do it?
Hell no, I'm not doing it.
I can't even go to the dentist, let alone a Neuralink.
Yeah, think about that. When I connected the dots that Tesla was not an automotive company, that it was a data company, and good for him.
Great for him. Yeah, he's doing
good for him. But I don't want to be part of the data and the controllable units that will be under the compliance of the man. And so I didn't escape the communist Soviet Union just to come here and get back under compliance.
And that's what I appreciate about, like, you know, because you've seen, I was born and raised here. But, you know, those that migrated into the country, they see this firsthand. You know, my father's business partner, he was from Burma. He had to flee Burma during a massive internal conflict there. His father was a general. And from a young age, I remember like 6 years old, his name is Mong So. And Mong I'd see him every week because he'd come and have lunch with my dad, and he would say, Brian, you don't understand the opportunity you have in this country. You could do whatever you want here. He says, I couldn't even drive in my country. He's like, I had to have a team that drove us, the whole family, everywhere just because they're afraid to lose their lives.
High risk.
High risk. And so he says, you could walk right now. You could go to the store with your dad. Anyway, his point, he would drive every single week. And so it's ingrained in me almost as if I was an immigrant. Like, I can't say I am, but you know what I'm getting
Yeah,
from.
yeah.
But he ingrained it at such a young age and helped me identify with the fact that, you could do anything in the States.
Yep.
Like
that is one of the greatest, I think, gifts we can give our kids who are born here. I started to kind of adopt, you know, Andrew and Chloe, my kids. Andrew's 20 years old. Chloe's 18 years old. They're born here. By the time they were born, we were already starting to do well for ourselves.
Correct.
And then by the time they were 10, 15, 16 years old, like, you know, we're flying beyond first class. We're flying, you know, Virgin Atlantic has upper class, and you're flying upper class, and there's like a prince with his family in there. And I realized my 10 and 12-year-olds are interacting with little princesses and princes. And I realized, like, this was not the life that I had at their age. And so I committed to giving them third world experiences.
Yeah.
And because of that, I said, hey, sometimes we're going to have to sit on shorter flights, of course, not across the country or the country or around the world. Because why do I have to suffer, man? I've already experienced the peasant life. and so, like, when my son and I would do fun trips to Las Vegas to go watch, like, Ka, because he loves the show Ka when he was a kid. And like, hey, we're flying Southwest. We're sitting in the very back by the shitters, and you're gonna get a tiny little bag of peanuts, and no one's gonna make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich like they did on British Airways or Virgin Atlantic, etc. But I really believe we can instill this immigrant edge mentality if we can do that in our kids, just like it had been done with you.
Yeah.
You realize, like, okay, I do live in a great country. Opportunity is still the most abundant. Is the country perfect? No, it's not. But I don't know of a perfect country, and we can't just idealize this perfect country because it doesn't exist. But what we can do is serve the people in this country and exploit the opportunities that we have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I mean, history is important, right? Because we can't predict the future, but we can certainly look at the past and see what we did right, what we did wrong, and focus on doing more of the right things. Yeah. But I think we could all agree, you know, at the end of the day, it's instilled in all of us. We're all humanitarians. We're all designed to preserve human life, right? And so we do. And there's, of course, there's lines and borders and all of this, and human emotion plays a huge role in that. But I think that if you can share those stories with, you know, the younger generation, and I think, you know, my kids don't have a Mong So in their life, but I repeat those stories that he shared with me.
Exactly.
Because it seems so foreign to them, like, how could it be dangerous to go to dinner?
Right.
Like, how? I'm like, well, let me tell you how.
Exactly.
Let's get Mong So on the phone.
Yeah, exactly. He'll tell you exactly what could go wrong. Yeah.
And, but because when he fled, you know, he had to leave he left everything behind, even his father, because his father was in the military.
Right.
So he came over with his mom and didn't see his father for years.
Man. It's crazy. Like, imagine that. Our kids will never have to experience that. Yeah. And someone born here will never have to experience that. And that's a reality for so many people that had to immigrate, that had to escape persecution. And then that sets a new lens on you. Like, man, if I had to, like, escape so that I could live, so that I could find food, so I could have shelter, I could drive, I could have some just the basics. Like, I remember thinking, like, wait, we can just turn on the faucet. We lived in this, the first Section 8 housing we lived in, the apartment complex was called Shade Tree Apartments in Santa Ana. Yeah. I just turn on the water and it just flows. The electricity just is always on and available. Because in Armenia, I remember my mom filling up the bathtub with water because
by hand?
Well, through the water would be turned on for the entire building, like early in the morning, and everyone has to fill it up because then it's shut off because the next part of the city gets water and then the next part, but we all don't get water at the same time. Same with electricity. So there's candles everywhere. And so all of a sudden you come here and you're like, wait, water just flows anytime you turn on the faucet? This is insane, right? Yeah, it's a luxury. And when you have that contrast, man, you begin to really appreciate things. Like, okay, the housing market crashed back in 2008. I was like, oh, this is still the best place to live.
Yeah.
You know, 9/11 happened, an unfortunate, sad disaster. This is still the best place to live. Like, it just is, because there's 9/11s happening every day in many countries out there, in third world countries, which majority of the world is full of third world countries.
That's right.
Yeah.
But what comes along with that is it's the humility that we go through, right? With running water, electricity.
Yeah.
I mean, the closest my kids have got to that was, camping maybe, right?
Right.
And, but, it's like, it's so true. But I mean, I think that's one thing we still have in society is that humility, and we can never lose that because, I mean, none of us want to be humbled, but it does shape and form us, and
Amen.
Creates us to evolve the way we have.
It does.
Which leads me, like, let's look at some closing advice, because you have founders, we have entrepreneurs of startups. They're trying to decide, how do they build this company? And to your point, the stat is 85% of business owners don't have an exit strategy plan.
Wow.
At all. And so when you think about that, I mean, you want to build a business plan that actually has an exit plan, all inclusive.
Yeah.
It's not an afterthought. And so your options are you could exit internally, family, it could be leaders in the organization, or you could exit externally to another like company. I'll use, in your case, there's a well-known equity group out of LA called Leonard Green. And Leonard Green, they were the early investors in gyms like Equinox, LA Fitness, but they also went on to invest in companies like Mr. Car Wash.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And so, but the common theme and the common denominator that Leonard Green, who's spending hundreds of thousands, not millions of dollars on analysts to show them and tell them, okay, here's where we're going to invest our money. You figured it out on your own, and that is scalable businesses to reoccurring revenue.
Yeah.
And that's monthly subscriptions or memberships.
Yep.
That's the common theme about, because you could get unlimited car washes at Mr. Car Wash.
Right.
Or
as long as you're on a subscription, right?
Whatever that costs.
Yeah.
And you could wash your car every day if you wanted to, right?
Yep.
But that is so powerful. So when you think about that, and you think about people building companies, imagine you're sitting across from these founders. What's some of that advice you'd give them to use the resources they have to really find that product or service or that solution that the world needs? And because they need tenacity, we agree.
Yeah. They need tenacity. They need bounce back ability. They need resilience. All the mental toughness stuff and emotional toughness stuff they need.
Yeah.
But getting very practical, like when people say, "Well, I'm really passionate about," and then fill in the blank, growing strawberries. Okay. Like, how's that going to be a business? It might be a niche business. You might even be able to pay your mortgage with it.
Yeah.
Let's say enough people worldwide through social media and all this platforms, you might be able to get enough customers, but it's not a scalable business. And so obviously if anyone's watching your podcast and they're familiar with who you are, the idea is, how can I scale this, sell it, and move on and like cash out? Because no one ever said, I want to be an entrepreneur so that I could be stressed out, work 24 hours a day, barely financially make it, and have no way out, be handcuffed to this like business that feels like a ball and chain. No one's ever said that, yet that is the majority, right? And so to me, the formula is simple in that, again, you have to find a large group of people that have the money that they're willing to part with because the problem is so painful that they're experiencing. And by the way, it's not always a solution to a problem, although I suppose it is. I just answered my own question. I would say the iPhone is such a brilliant little device, right?
Yeah.
But what was the problem that it solved there? Well, we had a phone. The phone had a hinge and had a little antenna. Remember that, right? The Razor and the Nokia and the Motorola. Blackberry. And then we had a Palm Pilot, right? Yeah. A little personal daily assistant, a PDA. So now we're schlepping around all these things.
Yeah.
And then there comes Steve Jobs, and he's like, I think I can make something more elegant.
Yeah.
I can make something more streamlined. And there's this, I don't know if you've seen it, it's an old grainy interview of Steve Jobs.
Okay.
And he's being interviewed by a news reporter, and they're asking him, so what's the future of Apple? He's like, well, imagine this, a phone that's all glass, and he's holding some kind of a book or maybe a clipboard in front of him.
Yeah.
He goes, a phone that's all glass, and it serves the function of your Palm Pilot and your PDA. It serves the function of your phone. It's connected to the internet. So this was like late 90s that the interview was happening.
Wow.
And the person's like, well, wait, it's all glass. Where's the buttons? He's like,
Yeah.
no, it's touchscreen. And you can tell he's getting frustrated because the reporter's
Yeah.
not getting it because
Yeah.
he's such a visionary. The
He was ahead of
reporter,
his time.
yeah, way ahead of
Way
his
ahead of
time,
his
right? And he goes, and then the reporter asks a stupid question, says, so like, how do you close it? He goes, it doesn't have a hinge. It's flat like a book. It's glass. You touch it,
Yeah.
and it serves multiple functions, right? And he was getting frustrated.
Yeah.
And so what did Steve Jobs do? Like, were we truly having a problem with our phones? Well, maybe yes, maybe no. But he did something that since then Uber has done, and Grubhub, and whatever that shopping app is where they shop for your groceries and bring it to you.
Oh, yeah. Instacart.
Instacart,
Yeah.
right? They've made things convenient
Yeah.
and easy.
Yeah.
Anytime you can make something convenient and easy,
Yeah.
because think about the days where you have to order a cab, right?
Oh, yeah.
You and I can remember that.
Yeah, crapshoot. Like,
Yeah.
Maybe you get one, maybe you don't.
Yeah. You're traveling on business. You're going to have to go to the airport tomorrow morning from this hotel. You
Yes.
call some cab company. You hope they're going to be at your hotel by
Yeah.
6:30 in the morning. You go down there, and are they there? Are they not? You don't know. And if they're not,
You're stressing.
you're stressing out, right? And so Uber's like, hey, what if we can just take someone, Mrs. Jones, who's like driving her kids around in the soccer van,
Yep.
and have her just pick you up?
Yeah.
And we're like, I'm not ever going to go on a stranger's car.
Yeah.
Don't you know?
Yeah.
Well, isn't that what a cab is? Okay, it's a
Yeah.
yellow, strange car.
That's right.
Right? And so when we can make something easier and more convenient,
Yeah.
people are willing to pay more for it.
Absolutely.
Uber's more expensive. Grubhub is more expensive because you can go pick up your burrito from,
Wherever,
Primo's
yeah.
down the street for $4 less. But you'd rather sit there in your shorts watching TV and have it show up to you.
That's right.
And so going back to the model that I just shared, when people are thinking, what's a scalable business that I could really like win back my time freedom and have this awesome life and experiences, because what do I have? Maybe 85 to 100 years on this planet if I like genetically have the genes not to die and keep myself healthy and eat right and work out, keep a positive mental attitude, keep all the negative people away from me. I might not get hit by a bus. I might live 85 to 100 years. Okay, with that said, I need to make a lot of money to be able to give my family awesome experiences and have them see the world. And for example, family and I are, the Rock of Gibraltar.
Okay.
Now, I don't know about you,
Yeah.
but when I've heard of it,
Yeah.
you've heard of it?
Yep.
You know where it's at?
Nope.
Okay, it's in Spain.
Okay.
But you've heard of it.
Yeah.
Do you know how big it is?
No.
See, I thought it was like the Plymouth Rock.
Okay.
In other words, like when they got on the Mayflower from
Yeah.
Britain and they're coming to the United
Yeah.
States and they're like, aha, look, on the beach there's this giant rock, maybe the size of a Chevy Tahoe, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Go towards that giant rock. We're going to call that America, the new America, right? Bro, the Rock of Gibraltar is a mountain made of rock that jets out of the coastline of Spain, so gigantic that they've built a city around it with skyscrapers. And the skyscrapers are barely touching the base of the mountain. Now, that is not, okay, I'll give them this. Yeah. It's a rock.
Yeah.
It's a rock.
Yes.
But I never realized. And so I'm like, well, I want to take my kids to the Rock of Gibraltar. After seeing that on Google Images, I'm like, I want them to see that, because I always thought it was just some rock that was famous, maybe something important happened there. But I share that with you because all people who go into business go into it with the idea of that I'm going to take this risk and I'm going to do this thing because it's got to be better than working 9 to 5, working for someone else, growing their dream and their vision. And then they get stuck, refinancing their home, maxing out credit cards, ending up in a divorce, losing it all because they didn't go in there with a plan. So going back to the plan that I said, which was earlier, find a solution like Steve Jobs did. He made something more elegant and he made it more convenient, more comfortable, more easier to use, and people were willing to pay more. What are we paying now? $1,500 for a freaking iPhone? This got delayed latency. In other words, they'll let it die. They make it die every 2 years so that you're forced to buy the next one. And so if you can solve a major problem for a large group of people who have that problem and they have the money to pay to solve that problem, and then you can put them on subscription. What did Steve Jobs do? He partnered with AT&T and Verizon and all that. And he says, hey, I'm getting a piece of the subscription. And then our phones have apps in it that charge a subscription, and he gets a piece of that,
too.
right? And so now you add to those 4 components that I just talked about, the last and final thing, make it easy and convenient.
Yeah.
And now you've got a business that is infinitely scalable. And that's what I did with personal training. I was like, if I can get the cost of personal training down from $600 to $1,200 a month, down to $150 a month, and then instead of Brian saying, well, Bedros, I want to work Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I want to work out with you at 8 a.m. Sorry, Brian. Ed's got that time slot. So you have to do 7 a.m. or 9 a.m. Now I can train 30 people at 9 a.m. for $150 a month and make more money in that time slot. So it's more convenient for you. You can come to 3 classes a day if you want. You're paying less, and I'm making more. And it's all on subscription. And then Brian's going to help me sell the company. Like, what could be better, right? Like that is a scalable model. And so founders need to think in that direction, because if they don't, they end up handcuffing themselves to a sinking ship that obviously with 80, 90% of businesses failing. Who the hell wants that?
More startups, close their doors than they do make it. Know? And that's the beauty about investors and wanting to buy existing companies, is that they've been through that, they've got through that stage and that phase, and now it's time to continue to grow and scale it. I think it makes me think of the common theme of what you're talking about was time. I heard you say time a lot. And you think of even Microsoft, like Microsoft, Apple, Instacart, Grubhub, Uber. These are all time machines. It saves us so much time so that we could reallocate that time to whatever you desire.
The things you value most.
Family, friends, work, all the above. And so I think that's great advice. Create something that could collapse time. I always say, if you could figure out how to store sleep, you'd own this world.
Right.
Like, if you can store sleep, which no one's figured out yet, I mean, I'd buy that.
I would.
If I could sleep, drink a liquid that gives me the equivalent to 8 hours of sleep. I'm in.
Imagine that. I mean, 1, you get to do more of what you love, right? 2, you get to spend more time with the people that you love. And 3, you're still getting the recovery of that sleep in a bottle. I don't know. I'd pay $1,000 a bottle.
Everyone you could make that back. The ROI is there.
Think about this. People would be like, well, that Apple iPhone that came out, it's too expensive. It's only going to be for the elite. Now everybody has it. Homeless people have it, right? Because we all find a way of getting the money to get what we want.
I laugh because I've seen homeless people like ordering Pizza Hut to wherever they are.
Bring it to this lamp pole.
Right here, right now.
Exactly.
They've even figured it out. Well, Bedros, thanks for spending time with me and the audience, because again, they're looking for wisdom and experience, and you've done this. You've built things up from nothing into massive empires that are sitting across the country. So I appreciate you and our friendship and the time we've had here.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. And thank you for listening in and tuning in to this episode of the M&A Guy Podcast. If you're a founder and you're sitting on something valuable and you want to collapse that time for yourself and build that time machine, you can look at options and strategies that can help you scale the business, eventually exit the business, that you could further allow you to pursue other opportunities. Visit us at applebytes.ai. It's an amazing AI tool that we've created to baseline the value of your company and assess your transferability. Until then, I'm your host, Brian Franco. Keep building your empire.